Are you tired of playing by the rules? Tired of doing what you're supposed to when all you really want to do is burn the damn rule book and start fresh? I get it. I've done it more than once. And let me tell you, freedom tastes better than approval ever could. Welcome to Her Gypsy Rebel, the podcast for those who crave more creativity, more space, more of your own damn life on your own terms. I am Jacqueline Van Bierk, aka Pink Star, a musician, artist, traveler, and professional rule breaker, bringing you real, unfiltered conversations about reinvention, confidence, and making space for what actually matters. So grab a coffee, a tea, something a little stronger, because this is where the rebellion begins. Hello, beautiful rebels. Here is another solo episode for you, straight from my heart, raw, honest, unfiltered, unpolished, just you and me, and some water. I wanted to talk about starting over, reinventing yourself. And oftentimes, when we know we are in a spot where we don't really belong. And when I say that, I'm talking about you may be in a job that you kind of got stuck in, right? You started making good money, maybe you got a promotion, and now you feel that, wow, I don't want to let go of this because it is my security. And I completely understand because we are so attached to the idea of security. But if you really think about it, nothing is really certain ever. And uncertainty is really where the magic is. When I think about all the times in my life where I made a giant change, and I've made many of them. And that's why I created this podcast, because this is all about stepping outside of your comfort zone. This is all about giving yourself permission to just explore more and to just try things that are uncomfortable, but somewhat exciting. And whenever you are scared, you already know that you're on the right track. When I'm scared of something, I know that, oh, okay, my nervous system, my entire body, my ego says, no, 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 we don't know that. This is not safe for us, right? And so that's why we oftentimes maybe have suddenly this back pain or this headache or step back into the comfortable place we've been in, because our body, our brain does not like change. Our brain likes to do what it knows. So when you do certain things, that's why it's so important to change things up. And I was just like recording another podcast with a friend of mine where we talked about that, how important it is to constantly do something different and not get so caught in a routine, meaning you always get up at this time, you always make coffee first, then you go to the bathroom, the toilet paper is always the one way, then you go a certain way to work. Make sure that you change things up. Even in your apartment, I like to put things in different spots just so I don't get completely in a rut. And you will notice that when you do that, you will go the old route and you think that, oh yeah, I put that over there now, and it's a little annoying at first, but it's super good for your brain because you're teaching your brain in tiny little ways to adapt to change, and then we can move on to something bigger. I wanted to share something because a lot of people that I encounter and that I've been talking to, the most common theme is that they feel stuck. They feel, and I've been in this place for so long, there are certain things you just know you're going to do it, even if you're scared, right? When I escaped East Germany, I had so much fear of being stuck in East Germany and never ever gonna experience freedom that I said, if I die, if they shoot me, I don't care. I just know I need to go. I want to go, and if there's a way for me to get out of here, I am going. Now that I am doing some inner work, I also realize why I always want to run off, because I never felt really safe in my home. I grew up in a violent home, and if you listen to my other solo episode, it was not constantly like that, but it was often like that. And so I diminished, like I always pushed it under the rug, thinking, oh, it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal. It did affect me. When I escaped East Germany, I just knew I had to do it. So when I then was establishing myself or living Hanover. I made friends and it was really fun. Everything was new and I learned a lot of new things. I started bartending. I started go-go dancing. I started modeling. It was so much fun and all these things. On top of that, I had a band and I also actually I started going to school, to business school, and I worked in an office. And just before I left, when I met my friend Sandy, who said, "Do you want to go to New York?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I got the job that I thought I really wanted because it seemed like fun and it was like recruiting. It was when you give people jobs, like part-time jobs, or what is it called? You get jobs for a certain time and then sometimes they might hire you full time. I can't think of the real name right now. Regardless, that was never the job I wanted. But at the time, I thought that's what I wanted. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to have that job, you know? And then my friend brought up this idea to go to New York, and I wanted to go to New York. So there was no brainer. Yes, let's go to New York. When I stepped foot on New York ground, I remember like it was yesterday. I'm home. I just knew, in my heart of hearts, I knew I'm home. That I've never felt that way. Like even escaping East Germany, which was huge when we were told we were free to go, that was just a major, major shift in my life, and change and accomplishment. But stepping on New York ground to me was just, my heart knew I'm home. All these movies I watched, I was in it. I was in it. The steam coming from the street, like the busyness, the cabs driving around like crazy, and the skyscrapers, just everything about it. I just knew I'm home. So that we went back to Germany. We worked for a whole year. I did the bartending and all these kind of other jobs, art jobs, and mainly bartending. And I never finished my school because I decided I don't want to. I don't want to. And then I went back to New York and I knew I wanted to stay. Was it scary? Not really, because it felt right. But then I was in New York. Sandy and I kind of split up. I started meeting my then partner. We started a band together. That was super exciting. We played in a tri-state area. We established ourselves. We had radio airplay. We had some, minor little successes happening, which was amazing. And I started stripping. I was a stripper. And that was the coolest job I ever had. And when I talk about all my jobs, when I first got out of actual school in East Germany, first job I ever had was a summer job collecting potatoes and throwing them on the truck. And then the second job I had was mail, delivering mail, and I hated it. I could not do it. I did it so bad at it. I ended up crying, telling my then boyfriend, like, I can't do that. His dad got us that job. I think he worked for the post office. Anyway, so, and then I started studying in Rüdersdorf near Berlin in a cement factory, because we didn't get to choose what we wanted to do when we are adults, right? So that was the only thing available. The other option I had, because my parents had connections, I could have been a teacher, and I didn't want to be a teacher. I'm like, I don't want to go study and become a teacher. That's not what I want to do. So I was like, I guess I'll become a Facharbeiter für automatisierte Anlagen, which means I am a worker at automated systems to run the factory, which was so not true. The first job I did there is getting up at 4 in the morning and sweeping coal, dust, and cement in a bunker. Like, it was just horrible. I would be so dirty. And I mean, looking back, I can't believe I did that. But so I did that. Did I like that? Oh God, I hated it. But I loved the school and being near Berlin, and everybody that, I was studying with, they were all so cool. And we had so much fun. We were partying all the time. We were just wild and crazy. So that part I loved. Now going back to New York, so I became a stripper. And what's really interesting is that everybody looked down on that job, right? A lot of people do. And I worked with a lot of girls who would say, don't tell nobody. And I'm like, who am I going to tell? I don't even, I don't know your friends. Like, I don't care enough. So it is interesting to me how people don't own what they've done. And I freaking loved it. I made really good money. I was not one of those hoes that like does whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it was fun. It was fun. You know why it was fun? Because I got to always take care of my body because I knew I'm going to be in a bikini. I loved being admired. I loved music. I loved kind of being in control. See, when you work in a strip club, you think that the guys think that they're in control because they got the money, but really they are not. You're not in control because I can say no, right? I can say I don't want to dance for you. I don't even have to look at you. So you're not in control, but you make them feel like they're in control, right? So that was a fun freaking job I had, and my parents knew about it, and my dad thought it was weird at first, and then he was like, "Oh, I saw this movie and I was thinking of you. That's kind of weird, you know, but funny at the same time." And he said, "As long as you don't do porn, I'm good. I'm good." I said I would never do that, and I never did. And then eventually, I also actually worked as a dominatrix. I loved that even more. I don't know if I loved it more, but I loved it as well. Because I think being a stripper, being a dancer in a gentleman's club, um, you know, it's a stripper. Or an exotic dancer. Let's say exotic dancer. It sounds much better, but I don't really care. But being a dom was also super fun. Being a dancer was staying in shape because you dance all night long, right? You're just like constantly shaking your booty. And then being a dom was fun because telling guys to shut the fuck up and and causing pain to someone that actually enjoys it. To me, that was very, very enjoyable. I loved it a lot. I actually like it a lot. I love kinky stuff, you know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you do too, then good for you. I also did some burlesque dancing, which I never really made much money from it because it's so hard to make money in that, for me at least, from my experience. But I really enjoyed that because it's just so much confidence. It's really good for any woman who wants to feel confident and love herself. It's not so much about anyone else but you, because you really, you know, you're really loving on your body. You're really like exploring your body and loving on your body, and you're being playful, and you also get to experience like you can be in a character and make it a whole show around a specific story. So there's a lot of storytelling, there's a lot of expression, there's a lot of artistry that goes into that practice and that form. And I really love that. And I might do it again. Who knows? Because you're never too old. It's never too late to do whatever you want to do. Okay, first of all. So that all these jobs were so much fun. What else did I do? I had to actually write it down because I'm like, what else did I do? I did a lot of jobs. I did some promo girls. I did that, just promotion for like a car, driving around a car, like a, you know, like a Red Bull car, and just like handing those out. A host at the W Hotel. I was a vocal coach then for a long time, which when I moved to LA, that's the next big change that I made. When I was done in New York, people kept telling me, actually at the strip club, you should go to LA. And then I had a friend that I met online, and she had a band, Luna Click, Claudia. And she was telling me, come to LA, come to LA. You guys would do so well. Your music is so awesome. So I took the nudge. I was like, let's check out LA. I didn't really like LA because I was told about it, and I didn't like what I was told. I feel whenever someone tells you about certain things, do your own research. Because just because someone says it sucks or it's not good doesn't mean that you have the same experience. For me, I've met my best friends all in Los Angeles. And the truth is, most people in Los Angeles are not even from Los Angeles. So that's that. But I quit as a stripper. I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. It was easy money, and I didn't want to get stuck in that. Coming back to being stuck in something that makes you pretty good money, right? It's pretty easy money. Although we would complain once in a while, but I mean, compared to other people's jobs, we made really good money, and it was really easy money, right? Because you were your own boss. And so, but I decided when I moved to Los Angeles that I'm not going to do that anymore because I wanted to be in the music industry. I didn't want to be in a club dancing and then, you know, like suddenly it's like an A&R person that might sign my band. That felt kind of weird. Looking back, who cares? But at the time, I didn't want to do that. And again, I wanted to challenge myself to do something different. That was scary. that was very scary because all I really knew, I danced in a gentleman clubs, several ones at first, and then I worked in only one club, which was amazing. For 8 years, I did this for 8 years, and I just loved it. But when I stopped doing it, I didn't even know what else to do. I was like, all I know is how to be a dancer and how to sing on stage. Those two things, right? And so, but I took voice lessons forever, and my coach had told me, she said, you know what, you are ready to actually teach. You know everything you need to know. You have all the experience. You've been touring, you've been playing shows, you've been practicing with me like for 4 or 5 years straight. I mean, every week, like I hardly ever like didn't show up. So I became a vocal coach, and I was scared to death. And my first student was an older gentleman, and he asked me how long I've been teaching. And I said, yeah, just a few, years or whatever. I think I lied because I didn't want to tell him at the first. And then eventually I told him, I said, actually, you were my first student. And he said, well, you did good. But I was super nervous playing the piano. I was super nervous that I teach them something wrong. It's just like this imposter syndrome. It's just like so dumb, and we all have it. And if you really think about that, if you have imposter syndrome, it's not so much maybe you don't have a certification, maybe you don't have the university diploma, but who cares? If you have the experience, if you have done it, you know how many people in school teach things that they have never actually done? It's all theory. So if you've actually done it, you are the master of it. You may not be the greatest at it, but if you are better than your students, then you have something of value to give. So never forget that. It was scary for me at first, and then I had so much fun because for the first time, besides being a dancer, there's a lot of value, right? You're making guys feel good, and you're feeling good about yourself. Also, you're feeling sexy, and you're just feeling confident because come on, how could you not feel confident? But then I really love the idea of giving value, seeing my students bloom, become into, overcoming that little obstacle that they thought they couldn't hit that note or they couldn't sing that song, and suddenly they could. And I was able to help them do that. That was the first time I felt like, wow, I'm making a giant difference in someone's life. And not only that, I also became kind of the little, life coach, helping them with little problems they had with their relationships or with their parents, whatever the case was, which was a very satisfying, amazing job that I had. And I wouldn't even call it a job. It was more like my life's work. I really felt like that was my life's work. And also being a stripper, all of them really, besides sweeping the dust, the coal shit. But so that was scary, but I did it. And then what was the next scary thing for me, and why I'm sharing all of this with you, is I want you to know that when you're feeling stuck, it is because you're so concerned about the how am I going to make this happen? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? You're so worried about what you're going to do next that you can't even give yourself permission to listen to your heart, to listen to your intuition, because your intuition doesn't really have feelings. Your intuition just tells you this is the next step. And when you start tuning really into that, then the better your intuition becomes. And that's why I love Kundalini yoga so much. The better you become at knowing what to do and making the decision. And I don't always know. Sometimes I get stuck, because I have a lot of interests, and I feel in my small brain, I think that I have to pick one thing and stick with it forever. I don't. I can pick one thing, have fun with it, and if I really love it, continue and make it grow. And if I don't like it, move on to the next thing, because I have so many things that interest me and that I could be doing and could be helping other people with. So get that out of your head. I want to first share one more thing that was really scary, to show you that you're not alone being scared of something, and that you're not alone being stuck, and that you are capable, because if I can do it, you can do it. When I had booked a flight to see my mom in 2019, the end of 2019, intuition. And my mom told me, I said, I'm going to come this time, as I promised, with my dog. We're going to come for 3 months. And she's like, whoa, okay. That's a long time, but that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to be staying just with you. I'm going to be bouncing around, visiting some friends, but I want to bring Bolt. And if I bring my dog, then I want to spend more time. And I promised that I wanted to do that anyway. So little did I know, my mom had actually visited me in June that year, 2019. She came with a friend and we hung out in LA, and it was freaking awesome, beautiful, and so nice. And she got to meet Bolt. And my mom, I told her I booked a flight. It was like the end of November or early December, I don't remember. And she found out she had cancer. And she had a major operation where they took her whole jaw, cut her jaw open, and put a piece of her wrist in her throat and a piece of her leg in her wrist. It was crazy, crazy. You know how scary it was to actually think about losing my mom, but also knowing that, oh my God, when I get there, like, she's going to be in a hospital.
Someone was detected at your front door.
So she had her operation right before I got there. And I ended up taking care of her for the next 7 months while the pandemic also happened. But if you would have told me that I'm going to go and clean out her throat while she was having a trach, she couldn't talk, she couldn't eat, she couldn't drink on her own. She had tubes coming into her stomach, into her throat. And if you would have told me that stuff, that I'm going to do that and clean out her trach, I would have told you never, never, ever, because I cannot stand hospitals. I can't anything medical. It's not my thing. Self-healing, different story. Yoga, meditation, breath work, completely different, right? But it's also a form of healing. So I did that. What I've done, I've seen her pass out, which normally I would also freak out. And she fell down the stairs one time. It freaked me out. It was so scary. And I actually thought when she fell down the stairs with her, she had like something in her stomach for the feeder, and her trach. I was so scared. The pandemic was happening at the same time, so the timing could have not been better. I told my mom, I'm not going to leave until she can eat and we can have a conversation, because she couldn't do any of that. And that was hard for my mom. She couldn't talk for 7 months, and she loves to talk. She couldn't eat, drink, anything on her own. So it was all tubes. But we did it. We did it. And I'm so grateful I took my dog with me, because I would have lost my shit without my dog for 7 months. So that was scary. And it was also my intuition. My intuition just told me to book a flight and stay for 3 months. And then I couldn't even leave, even if I wanted to, because we weren't allowed to fly. But my point is, it was scary, and I did it anyway, because we are so much more capable of what we think we can do. And then I finally came back to the States. It was 7 months later. And the pandemic was still happening, and I realized, I went back to LA and I was like, everything is closed. What am I doing here? What am I paying rent for? I didn't even have, everybody was getting money from the government. I didn't get anything because I wasn't even here. I didn't know how to apply, anything like that. So I had no money coming in. I had my apartment rented out until I came back. And I was actually traveling on my way back to LA. So I took my time. I actually almost spent a whole year away from my apartment because I sublet it, which is awesome, thankfully. But when I got back, I said to myself, the reason why I left to begin with for the 3 months going to Germany was I needed change. I felt so stuck. I felt that I was going to this school, giving voice lessons, which I loved, but everybody else kept leaving. And I was still there. And I'm like, okay, here we go again. I'm still here. Why am I still here? Why have I not evolved into something bigger, better? My own students at home, I had a bunch of them, but not enough to survive. Because they would come and go, and the school was kind of convenient, right? And I really felt depressed. I felt so low, and I would go to my park, and I loved all the people in my park. But still, I felt that, oh my God, if I'm here 10 years from now, same people, same place, wow, I don't know if I can handle this. I need change. So I decided that I'm going to give my 30 days, and I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to go pack my car, visit friends, and figure out where to go next. And my friend in Michigan had told me that, whenever, actually, I'm in his studio right now, Frank. Whenever I want to come back, there's a little cabin waiting for me, so I can always come here when the season is right. And I did that. I visited a bunch of friends, spent some time with them, which was beautiful because I got to get closer with my friends and spend, quality time with them. And then I ended up here, and I was actually kind of homeless because I didn't really have my own apartment anymore. And I ended up meeting my boyfriend, my now boyfriend. We were bouncing around back and forth. I went back to New York, stayed with a friend. And then he came and we stayed there for a while. We were kind of like really gypsies, right? That's my whole channel. That's what it's all about. What I've learned is to adapt, not only that, to just trust the process. Sometimes we can't see what's next, and I'm not a big planner to begin with. So we ended up coming back here, and then we ended up staying at a friend's RV. It was just not the best situation, even though it was family actually. But then we ended up buying our own RV and started the RV life. And that was so fun. And honestly, I wouldn't drive an RV. Like I wouldn't schlep an RV behind me because that's not who I am really. Like I love the RV life, but I would probably have one I can drive, not like where I need a truck to drive it. But it was exciting and maybe a little bit scary, but more exciting. And I love the freedom. I just love the freedom of going wherever I want to go, pull my home wherever I want to go, and wake up in new places. Right now, we've been kind of in Michigan because of his work, but I'm just telling you that if you are feeling stuck, do not give up on yourself and do not give up on the idea that things can change. They may not change drastically. The first thing you want to do is write down like 10 things that you really used to enjoy, that light you up even now when you think about it, right? Like for me, it's like I love performing, and I'm playing actually a show June 24th in Brooklyn in New York. So if you want to come and see me, definitely hit me up, and you will also see it on my social medias the minute I got the flyers. Write down 10 things that light you up. For me, it would be burlesque. It would be teaching, voice lessons. I still love it because it's so much value that I was giving. I would also not mind being a dom again. But what I really love is teaching Kundalini yoga and actually helping people do yoga in a short period of time, like Kundalini for busy people, because you can get so much benefit from just 3 minutes daily. So whatever it may be for you, write down those 10 things. Then go over those 10 things that really light you up and play with it. Be crazy. Don't think, oh, well, that phase is over, or nobody would want that, or I can't do that because maybe my back hurts. Don't think about those things. No limitations. I just want you to write down 10 things that really light you up, that excite you. Then it could be moving to Greece. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be necessarily like a job. So then from these 3 things, from these 10 things, pick 3 things that you feel, oh my God, yes, 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 that would be so freaking cool. And do not think about how. The how gets you caught up. The how gets you stuck, because when you start thinking how, logic kicks in, and logic will tell you it's not possible. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources, which we do have plenty of resources. So do not do that. So don't ask how. Just pick it. And then from those 3, pick one that seems most likely to maybe the easiest. And you could also pick the hardest. Doesn't matter. Because those 3 already seem pretty out of, right? Like out of your current reality. It seems pretty out of reach. But I want you to pick one of those 3 and just give it a shot. Start small. It doesn't have to be big, but start small. When you're a little scared, that is a great sign. That is your body just saying, ooh, no, 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 no. We don't want change. And your soul saying, yes, please set me free. Let's go. Sit with that. I want you to sit with that. Journal. And look for signs. Start visualizing it. Start journaling and start visualizing it, where you really feel like, what would it feel like to be in Greece, to live in Greece on that island? Oh my God. What would it feel like? What would I be doing over there? Maybe I would just make cakes for somebody. I don't know. Maybe I would help a family that needs, um, in not exchange student, but like people that work for stay, right? There's like actually a website. I can't think of it right now, but do some research, because when you start igniting that engine, that fire, the signs will show up, the opportunities will come, because that's how the universe works. It does not work by us going, but how? How? You know how I know that? Every time I've operated from that place, nothing happens. Nothing. You know what happens? Frustration and more confusion and just restlessness, and also not believing that things could actually happen for me. When I let go of the how, when I just really embrace and let myself dream, then the possibilities start to seem endless, because I'm allowing myself to dream. I'm allowing myself to play and imagine and feel the feelings of that. And then stuff usually starts happening quickly, sometimes quicker than you would think. So that is the true power of manifestation. It's not about doing, it's the being. It's the being and the believing, the feeling. Those senses, like activate those senses. Like, what does it taste, smell, feel like, look like? Mm, Bathe in that. So what I want you to do is, if you're open for that, you don't have to do anything. And if you are still here and you find this interesting, I want you to really think about all the jobs you've done. It's really interesting. It's so fun. And I probably left a few out. Um, but share it with me if you don't mind. Share with me, what kind of jobs have you done? What jobs did you really enjoy and what jobs did you really hate? And what did you learn? Because every job we've had was a lesson. I think me sweeping the coal was definitely being humble, right? Because I was like, I knew I that's not what I wanted to do. That was my only choice, and it's what I had to do. But I still had so much fun because I had fun with the people that I was working with and I studied with. So make a list and share that with me, or share it with a friend of yours and see and laugh about it and have a good time. Because when you're having a good time, that energy is bliss. And when you're in a state of bliss, again, you're attracting beautiful things. You're allowing new ideas to come in. You're allowing to be creative. And when you're creative without forcing it, then things happen. So anyway, I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoyed my little rambling, about my many crazy jobs. And that's why I'm a gypsy. You know what I mean? And I'm not even ashamed of it. Why would I be ashamed of it? People sometimes feel like, oh, I'm so ashamed to say that I used to do that. Why? Why? It's part of who you were. It was part of your life's journey. And we all are on this journey on different paths. And sometimes our paths meet and then we split up and then we meet again and split up again. Who knows? You know, I mean, just have fun and own your shit. Most importantly, own yourself, own your story, own your past, and know that the future is possibilities, endless possibilities, because you are in control. So when you let go of trying to control everything and everybody, especially everybody else, don't control them. Just control your own life. That's enough work. You don't even have time or energy to control other people or other situations or fight over politics and religions and all that kind of stuff that at the end of the day don't really matter, because you can't control it. But what you can control is your path. And if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling frustrated, if you feel like this fear overcoming you, just know that that fear is a sign to go for it. It just is. Trust that sign and say, you know what? Maybe that is not really fear as danger, but fear, oh, brain knows we're making changes and brain do not like changes. Anyway, leave me some comments. Subscribe to this podcast if you liked what you heard. Stories of my crazy little life, all scattered from all over the place. But you know what? That's who I am sometimes, and I hope you enjoy that. Next week, I have an amazing guest, Mindy Rosen. She is such a fabulous woman, and she's helping so many other women get unstuck and feel comfortable and be confident. So definitely don't miss that episode. Before I let you go, as always, follow your bliss, make every day a great day, and also check out my beautiful shawls. This is a tie-dyed one. They are shrugs, shawls, whatever you call them. They're actually my hoodie tops. And they are so cute, Jack Van B. And they are so cute because they are breathable. Let me show you real quick. They come in so many different colors. You can have it in pink. They are in tie-dye and also in inked, which is really cool. I have my apocalyptic ones. Check out my website, pinkstarmusic.com, and then go to my store. But look at this. And some of them are not as crazy, but they are so cool when you go to concerts, to festivals in the summer, to the beach, so you don't get burned. Or when you're driving your car, you don't want to get driver's arm. So like this is really good to protect. And they also come without the hoodies in just black or white. And I have very few left in pink. Really beautiful. And I'll give you 10% off if you're buying two from my store. If you mention the podcast, Her Gypsy Rebel. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love your feedback. I would love some comments on how you feel about your jobs that you've done and what you've learned from it and what you really enjoyed. And if you are stuck, you can also work with me. I do a yoga program, Kundalini Yoga, to just help you get unstuck, to really work your entire system and really own yourself, but also like strengthen your third eye so that you can strengthen your intuition and your inner wisdom. And really, it's called the yoga of awareness. Become aware of your body, of your thoughts, of your actions, and create the life that you want to live. With that said, have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't yet, make sure that you hit subscribe if you would like to share it with someone. I always appreciate that. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks so much.